prairie stretched wide and endless, gold in the late summer heat. A single rider appeared as a dot against the horizon, dust trailing in his wake like a secret he could not outrun. His name was Elias Ward, and the whispers about him had filled the town of Willow Creek for 5 years. Elias had been a soldier, a husband, a father. Then he had been a widower. Some said he had deserted the war when grief broke his spirit. Others claimed he had taken 2 outlaw ways, though no man ever proved it. Whatever the truth, he had vanished after his wife Mary's sudden death during a harsh winter. He'd left behind not only his tiny ranch, but also broken kin, neighbors who once admired him, and memories too painful to face. Now, as the sun dipped toward the western ridges, Elias came home. His chest ached with every thud of his horse's hooves, not from fatigue, but from dread. He did not know what he would find. He only knew the past never truly stayed buried on the frontier, at the edge of town. The first voice to welcome him was not kind. "Well, I'll be damned." "The ghost returns," muttered old Sheriff Doyle, stepping from the porch of the saloon. His weathered face showed more years than the last time Elias had seen him. Elias tipped his hat. "Not a ghost, just a man who lost his way." The sheriff narrowed his eyes. "You left a lot behind to rot. Best hope you've still got a place here? I came to find out." Elias rode on, the sheriff's stare boring into his back like a weight he'd carry forever. The ranch house was nearly swallowed by tall grass. The fence leaned, the barn roof sagged, and the world Elias once held together by sheer love had withered. He dismounted and walked through the empty doorway. The smell of dust and silence hit him first. Once there had been laughter here, soft quilted smells of bread rising, Mary humming a tune as she worked. Now ashes of a life gone too quickly. He sat in the shadows until the sound of hooves roused him again. From the road came a wagon driven by a lone figure. Elias stepped out, heart seizing when he recognized her gait. The proud way she held herself even after years of hardship. Clara Monroe, the girl he had loved before he'd married Mary, the one who had disappeared one summer night without farewell, leaving only an ache so sharp it cut his breath. She had been his first fire, his first sorrow, his first unanswered prayer. And here she was, pulling her wagon up to his broken ranch. Clara froze when her eyes found him. Time had carved her face with quiet strength, lined but beautiful, more grounded than the wild girl he had remembered. In her wagon lay a pile of supplies, and a child's voice rose from behind them. "Mama." "Who's that man?" Clara swallowed hard, lips trembling. "That's Mr. Ward. He won't trouble us." But Elias stepped forward, chest heavy with everything unsaid. "Clara." Her name tasted like both balm and blade. "I thought you were dead," she whispered. "Most days I thought the same." That night, under a wide, bruised sky, they spoke at last. She told him of how she had returned to Willow Creek 2 years after Mary's death. Widowed herself, left with a daughter, Hannah, and no kin to aid her. She survived by sewing, cooking, helping on neighboring farms. The town did not judge her harshly. It needed strong women. But the arrival of Elias unsettled every fragile wall she had built. "You can't stay," Clara said firmly, though her voice quavered. "People won't forget what you abandoned, and I can't. I can't live with ghosts." "I'm not asking for forgiveness," Elias replied. "I just want to make right whatever I can." Clara's eyes darkened, like storm clouds rolling. "You never knew, did you? Not about the night I left? Or why?" His throat tightened. "I thought you grew tired of me." "I left because I was carrying your child," she said. The words breaking like glass, Elias felt the earth fall from under him. But then her gaze softened toward the wagon where her daughter slept peacefully. "Hannah." His voice cracked. Clara shook her head. "No, she came later, from another man. But the child I carried before, I lost her. And I lost you because I thought silence would protect us both." Foolish girl's choice. The prairie wind sighed between them. The silence afterward burned hotter than fire. Part 2. Uncovering. What was lost over the next weeks? Elias labored like a man starved of purpose. He repaired fences, patched the roof, cleared weeds choking the old ranch fields. Neighbors grumbled, but secretly watched with curiosity. Could the broken widower reclaim something of what he lost?
Ow!
Clara tried to stay away, yet each evening found her crossing paths with him at the well, at the trading post, or on the road when he offered her wagon assistance. Their conversations were guarded at first, veils of pride and pain between them. But slowly, as in the wilderness, all things must bend to wind and weather, those veils tore. Hannah adored him quickly. She followed him like a shadow, asking stray questions about horses, tools, and why the sky changed its colors every dusk. Elias saw in her what he had lost with Maria, chance to care again, a chance to be needed. It terrified him as much as it healed him. But love in Willow Creek was never free of judgment. One night, under lantern light at the town hall, voices rose. "Ward's dangerous," warned Sheriff Doyle. "We let him back. We forget he abandoned his post, abandoned all of us. He's mending what's his," defended neighbor Ruth. "And that ranch has needed a hand since Mary died. The land thrives when a man finds reason again." Reason scoffed, a bitter rancher or a woman he doesn't deserve. The woman was Clara, though no one spoke her name outright. Thus began the murmur of scandal. The storm roared like a wounded beast across the prairie, rattling windows and bending trees with its hungry wind. Rain fell in fast, heavy sheets, drumming against the half-mended roof of Elias's cabin. Clara trembled where she stood near the cold hearth, hair plastered wet against her face, clothes torn from the force of the lightning-turned gale. Her wagon had broken on the ridge, and she'd staggered here, too desperate for shame, too weary for pride. "Please cover me. I'm naked," she had cried, voice cracking between rain and sobs. Elias had moved without thought. He pulled her into his arms and wrapped his coat around her, his body a shield, his breath steady against the chaos outside. The closeness burned and comforted in equal measure. He could feel the fast beat of her heart against his chest, as though all the years between them had collapsed into this one desperate embrace. "I've got you," he whispered. "Nothing will touch you here." For an instant, Clara let her weight sink against him. The smell of leather, wood smoke, and the familiar earthiness of his skin stirred memories she'd locked away nights long ago when she had leaned against him under summer stars, when she had believed their lives would weave together like two strands of grass in the wind. But then she jolted back, clutching the coat closed around herself. Her eyes glistened like glass struck by firelight. "This isn't right," she said, voice trembling. "Elias, people will turn their tongues sharper than any knife if they see me here like this." "Let them talk," he replied, jaw hard. "They've gossiped all my life. I'm done bowing to whispers." "But what about the whispers inside?" "Us," Clara thought, pressing her back to the wall as though its solid timber could save her from the storm within. The lightning flared, lighting the cabin with a stolen brilliance. Elias saw her fully for the first time in years, not just as the woman who carried secret burdens, but as Clara, the girl who once ran with wild abandon across pastures, daring him to catch her. And in her eyes, though grief and caution sat heavy, there was still that flicker of fire. He stepped closer, slowly, carefully, like a man approaching a spooked horse. "I lost everything that I loved," he said, voice rough. "Mary, my boy. The life I thought I knew. But I never lost the part of me that was yours. You took it when you left, and I've been haunted ever since." Clara's lips parted, but no sound came. Storm outside answered for her, rattling the shutters like judgment. Finally, she said, "Elias, I can't give you what you want. My heart's already cracked into too many pieces. I can't risk it shattering entirely. You think I'm not cracked the same?" he asked, eyes burning. He reached for her hand, not forcing, just waiting in when she did not pull away. He pressed her trembling fingers to his chest. "Feel that? Beat still there? Still waiting? Don't shut it out." Her tears finally spilled, hidden by the shadow of the storm. She let herself hold on, just for a heartbeat longer than she should have. He covered her as promised, first in that moment of mercy, then in something deeper, the quiet truth that he would stand between her and the world, no matter the cost. But outside, life was not bound. Love had barely found breath before being pressed to the trigger's edge. Elias must choose: renounce Clara to save her from scandal, or stand against law and judgment for the chance to finally claim the love he had lost twice. Under the endless western sky, hearts would break or burn brighter than the stars. This gives us the full part 3 expanded, their vulnerable embrace and emotional stakes raised, plus a deliciously tense cliffhanger leading into the duel of love versus law next. I'll continue with part 4, Confession at Gunpoint, where the story soars into its dramatic climax before curving toward redemption. Would you like me to roll seamlessly into that continuation? Morning came cold and merciless. Dust hung thick in the air, stirred by restless boots gathering in Willow Creek's main street. Rumor had spread faster than prairie fire. Sheriff Doyle had called Elias Ward to stand like a man, pistol to pistol, or leave town in disgrace forever. Elias stood tall, though his hands trembled at his sides. He wanted no fight. He'd buried enough lives already. But the sheriff wasn't simply defending. Law Doyle was defending his own poisoned pride. To him, Elias's return threatened order, threatened reputation, most of all shamed the sheriff's unspoken affections for Clara Monroe. The town buzzed with whispers as Clara pushed through the crowd, Hannah clutching her skirt. "In fear, Mama! Don't!" the girl cried. But Clara pressed forward, refusing to hide this time. "Stop this!" Clara's voice rang out, breaking the chatter. "This fight isn't about justice. It's about envy. It's about shackling Elias to a past none of you truly understand." Doyle narrowed his eyes. "Step aside, Clara. Man's got to face what he's brought upon himself." Elise's grip hovered near the pistol at his hip but never quite closed. On it, instead, he lifted his voice. "I've carried death long enough. I won't be the hand that spills more blood. You'll fight or be branded a coward," Doyle barked. The street fell into silence, the kind of silence that presses heavy on the chest. Elias turned his gaze to Clara. Her eyes shone tears. Burning, though she stood straight as the ridgeline, took a single step toward her, defying the long line of guns watching. And then, with the whole town as witness, Elias spoke the truth he had hidden even from himself. "I love her. I always have since before the war, since before tragedy stripped me bare. If it damns me, let it damn me honest. But I will not draw my gun against wrongly placed hate, not when what I carry is love." Confession shattered the crowds. Stillness, like a rifle's crack. Murmurs spread, half scandal, half ow. Clara pressed her trembling hand to her lips. The words she had longed to hear cut her deeper for coming at gunpoint. It healed her all the same. Doyle's jaw clenched, finger twitching near his own pistol. He stepped forward. "If you won't fight, you accept death, Ward." Elias nodded. "Once, so be it, but it won't be on my hands." At that instant, Clara moved. Like a storm-lashed willow, fragile but unyielding, she darted between the two men. Fists clenched, eyes blazing, she shouted, "Then you'll have to shoot me as well, Sheriff, because I will not let this man die for the sin of loving me." Gasps rippled through Willow Creek. For a long moment, the only sound was the prairie wind, carrying the soft rattle of a saloon sign. The street held its breath. Even the prairie wind stilled, as though creation itself leaned in to see which way the barrel would lower. Sheriff Doyle's hand hovered on his gun. His jaw, a knot of stubbornness and shame. Before him stood Elias Ward, unarmed by choice, a widower who had returned not to fight, but to live honestly at last. Between them stood Clara Monroe, her form slight yet unmovable, blocking the sheriff's aim with nothing but the sheer strength of love laid bare. "You don't understand what you're doing," Doyle hissed, voice rough with conflict. "They will mock you. They will ruin you." Clara's dark eyes burned hotter than the noonday sun. "Let them mock. Done. Living inside fear. You can strip a woman's good name, Sheriff, but you cannot strip her heart from beating." The townsfolk murmured, their ranks swaying. Elias stood tall behind her, the words still echoing in the air. "I love her." Always have words he could never take back, words he never wished to. Doyle faltered, torn between the law he clung to and the human ache smoldering in his chest. For everyone knew the truth. Now his righteous fury was not born only of law. It was born of wanting what another man had dared claim aloud. His hand fell from the pistol. The sheriff turned away, shoulders taut with humiliation, his authority cracking like brittle bark. Then may God himself judge you. I have no more fight to give. Gasps swept the street. Elias stepped forward, steadying Clara, his palm firm at the small of her back. She staggered, but did not fall. Her tears now brimmed not of shame of release. Let them talk, Elias murmured, for her ears alone. The chains are broken now. The first time in too many years, Clara let herself smile, broken, shaky, but real. Hannah ran to them both, clutching her mother's hand, her eyes wide as if she'd watched a new world open before her. The crowd dispersed slowly, uneasily, but with a hum of awe. Some muttered judgment still, yet some exchanged glances, as though hope had cracked through the dust-heavy sky. Part 6, Hook-butt breaking chains, is not the same as binding wounds. Elias and Clara have admitted their truth, yet truth alone cannot heal the scars of betrayal, abandonment, and grief. To forge a second chance, they must walk through fire past neighbors' scorn, haunted memories, and the fragile trust still trembling between them. And on the wide prairie, love is never safe. For shadows yet linger, so does the question: can love once lost and reborn truly endure?